welcome to DrunkleRob's kitchen. Today is going to be the first time I make something for the first time on the show that I've never made before. One of the foods that I've been told is really good for people that have gout is things with turmeric and a couple of the other spices and seasonings we're going to use today, and that's curry. Curry has a whole bunch of stuff in it that's good for your body, whether it's the cinnamon, the turmeric, garlic. You can make it with small quantities of meat. Got about 200 grams of meat here so I can share with someone else, because I'm limiting myself to 100 grams of meat a day. And also yogurt to mix in towards the end. It's also really good for your body when you have gout problems. There's a whole bunch of seasonings and other vegetables that go with it, and there are so many different types of curry available. I'm going to let you guess what type this is because I don't want to give a specific type of curry a bad name just for being on here, and this is the first time I've ever made one, so we'll see how it goes. I've got my stove on a low-medium heat. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to take about 3/4 cups of olive oil. I'm using some a brand that was recommended to me by a friend for doing this, and so I'm going to pour this in here, and the first thing you're going to do with it is put the oil with a mix of garlic, onions, and some fresh coriander, and cinnamon sticks, cloves, and cardamom seeds. You're gonna let it all kind of simmer for a while in the oil. So I'm gonna dump this stuff in. I'm gonna dump the oil in with it. And the vegetables. You're gonna wanna let this stir around for about 3 minutes on its own. So we're just gonna keep this going for about 3 minutes. We got cinnamon sticks. We got 10 cloves. We've got 10 cardamom seeds. We have about half an onion thinly sliced. I have a couple tablespoons of coriander and 2 garlic clove pieces diced up rather fine. We're just gonna stir this around for about 3 minutes. So we got 2 more minutes to go. All these flavors combining together. Alright, it's been a couple minutes. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my chicken. You can use chicken breast for it, whatever. I got some chicken tenders fairly cheap. Local butcher. So, always want to save money. And I like chicken tender taste. So we're going to take it and we're just going to put these tenderloins that I cut in half in here. Cook with these seasonings for a couple minutes before we add in the rests. Alright. You're going to make sure, because you're using oil, keep things flipping here so all the sides can get cooked if it's not fully submerged in the cooking oil. Alright, so we're going to let that sit in there for a minute or two. Pour the last this oil out of here. So, after this is mostly cooked chicken is when we're going to mix in the other peppers and spices. And then last, what we're going to do is add half a cup of tomato sauce. If you have tomato sauce available, that's great. Just jarred tomato sauce is kind of hard to find in Korea, but they have plenty of tomato mixes. So this is a tomato and red pepper sauce. It's supposed to be for spaghetti, but we're going to see how it goes with this because it was the closest to basic tomato that I could find. Alright, let's flip this chicken. Alright, and while that's still cooking, so generally when you make curry, you're not just going to eat it with a spoon, you need to mix it with something you're going to eat. The most classic Indian, Pakistani curry people are going to eat with rice and naan. So the rice I'm going to use, is this rice that I found at a local store. It's brown rice, which is suggestive for people with gout, but don't just buy brown rice. You want to grab brown rice that hasn't been husked. I don't know if you can tell in there, but it's still got the husk on the outside of the rice. And there's actually a lot of minerals and vitamins and stuff in that husk that's good for you. Roughage that's good for you too. If you shell it, you're just going to be getting more empty carbs than it's really worth. So you want unhusked brown rice. I put a cup of it with a cup and a half of water in my rice cooker. It's cooking now. So it should be finished up around the same time this finishes up. A lot of people also like naan. Naan, just like any other bread, is going to depend what the base of it is. Is it enriched flour? Is it white flour? Is it basic flour? You want the most no-frills thing you can think of. I don't know how to make naan. Maybe in the future I'll have a video doing that. If you don't have naan, to clean off your plate basically of what's last of the curry, you're going to want a basic bread. I have some of those no-frill white dinner rolls just made with the extreme basics unenriched flour from the other day. I'm going to use these to clean my plate at the end to get whatever curry is left over. Alright, this chicken is mostly cooked now, so I'm going to first take out these cinnamon sticks I've been cooking in there, because you basically don't want to be chewing on those later on. I'm going to get these cinnamon sticks out. I'm going to add in the seasoning. So this is a tablespoon crushed red pepper, half a tablespoon of salt, sorry, teaspoons, half a teaspoon of cumin, some parsley, a full tablespoon of turmeric, some more cumin, and we're gonna mix this in with the chicken we got here. And we're gonna let it cook like this for a couple more minutes, which I'm gonna speed us up through. Oops, there's a little piece of cinnamon still in there. We're gonna, I don't know if you can see that color on the screen very well. It's this nice yellowish ochre color that it's all taking on. A lot of curry ends up being this color because of the mix of spices. It's kind of like if you mix a lot of paints or like crayon colors together, you always end up with that brown at the end from mixing together your colors. It's the same thing with this because we've got orange and white and all sorts of other color stuff going on mixed in here together. And then you get this ochre yellowish brown going on. So we're going to let it cook like that for a while. Let everything mix with that. So I'm going to fast forward you through this part and I'll be right back. So it's got its page entry in my book, the Gout Gastronomicon that I'm working on. Some things have been a pretty good success. Carrot juice was a success. Strawberry hibiscus iced tea, pretty good success. This was not much a success, so it will not be making my book. Not everything can be great, but I made it, so I'm going to drink it. Alright. Before I toss my tomato sauce in here, I'm just going to cut a piece of chicken or two in half. This is generally how I like to test to see if it's cooked all the way through or not. You don't want to be eating raw meat. This is completely white, so I think we're safe to go with the completely cooked all the way through. Generally with pork and chicken, it's a good idea to do something to make sure they're cooked all the way through. Alright, so next we're going to add our tomato sauce. About a cup. We want to cook this long enough to heat the sauce. We've already got most of the flavor from our spices and stuff. The mix I use seems to have some stuff in it too, so I'm hoping that the flavors complement each other pretty well. That's why I kind of went for the most basic tomato sauce I could find too. You can no longer hear it cooking. That's because the sauce cooled it down, and that's why you need to leave it in here a bit for it to heat back up, for the sauce to get warm. Okay, so let's leave that for a minute. While it's warming back up, the yogurt I'm going to use is a plain Greek yogurt. That's what I recommend you use as well. This is going to mix with the sauce. give it a nice yogurty consistency around the meat, and a good flavor as well, just plain. Okay, non-sweetened Greek yogurt. And you can't mix it in when it's hot because it's yogurt. So if you mix it in when it's hot, you have a very good chance that your yogurt is going to curdle like spoiled milk. So once I have this cooked as much as I like, and I've cut these pieces to about pieces I want size-wise. There we go, it's good. We're gonna let this cook, simmering for about another minute. A lot of things cook themselves. Just being patient and letting it do its thing. It's a thing that a lot of people can't do with cooking. They sit there, they poke, they prod. You really don't need to. It's not going to burn if it's on low enough heat. Just let it do its thing. Alright, so I'm going to give you a close-up what it looks like in there. Alright, so I'm going to kill the heat. And I'm going to let it sit here and cool for about 5-10 minutes. And then I'll come back into the frame then, and I'll mix the yogurt for you and show what it looks like at the end. I'll be back in a few minutes. Okay. I think we should be safe here. I'm gonna just put a little bit in to see. Looks alright. Alright, so I'm gonna scoop out around a cup of yogurt. Mix it up. The smell is really good. Once it's mixed in, we're going to turn the heat back on. To low. Okay, and once it's on low, we're just going to heat it up. Keep stirring with the yogurt and the other sauce to mix together really well. We need to heat it up so that it'll bond easier. Just gently mixing. At this point, you don't want to mix too hard, because if you splash this on yourself, it's going to stain your clothes bad. Always cook with an apron. Next time, I might use a little less oil. It looks a bit greasier than I expected it to based on the recipe that I took and altered a little bit. I used as much oil as they said I should for this much chicken. Looks like it might be a little oily, but it smells good, looks good. It's got about the right color for what I was trying to make. So I think we're in the ballpark. Maybe try it with a little less oil than I used. There you go. Got some gout-friendly curry. This should be alright for you. If you don't want chicken, you can of course use another meat that you want. I suggest avoiding pork and lamb, even though lamb is my absolute favorite meat flavor. They're generally not good for people that have gout, and they can cause a lot of people that have flare-ups. Everyone's body's different, so if you know that you're okay with lamb, I would suggest that. If you don't know if you're okay with lamb, I would avoid it. Right? And that's it. Alright. Thanks for watching. See you next time on DrunkleRob's Kitchen.